October 13th, 1984 should have been just another fun night out for Angela and her friends, but it turned out to be her last. Her case turned cold. Can modern technology and a friend's undying love and determination to solve her case help detectives find Angela's killer?
What's going on, everybody? I'm James.
I'm Crystal.
And welcome back to another episode of Our Killer Obsession. All right. Thanks for joining us for another episode. And we would truly greatly appreciate it if you could hit that thumbs up and subscribe. It would help YouTube push us out to a wider audience. Also, guys, don't forget we have a suggestion link in all the descriptions of our shows. So that way, if you have any cases you want us to talk about, you can drop them right in there. Any suggestions on the show itself on how to improve it, leave them in there, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Angela Samota was born on September 19th, 1964 in Alameda, California. In 1984, she was a 20-year-old sorority member of the Zeta Tau Alpha sorority. She was studying electrical engineering and computer science at the Southern Methodist University in Dallas, Texas. From all accounts, she was living a dream life. She had lots of friends, going to a great college, and was dating a great guy named Ben, and had a very bright future in store for her. On October 13th, Angela and her two friends, Anita and Russell, decided to go out. Angela's boyfriend, Ben, could not go because he was working construction and had to be up early the next day. They started their night at the Texas State Fair. They had a great time eating carnival food and riding rides, and later that evening they wanted to go dancing, so they headed over to the Rio room. Anita and Russell later recall Angela was very happy. She was dancing a lot and walking table to table talking to everyone. Russell stated it was like she knew everyone. Around midnight, the trio decided it was time to head home. Angela was the DD that night, so around 1 a.m., she dropped Russell off home first, who stated he went right in and went to sleep. Next, she dropped off Anita, and all of their apartments were within a 5-minute walking distance of each other. Before Angela went home, she made a quick pit stop at Ben's to tell him goodnight. Ben reported that a few minutes later, around 1:45 a.m., he received a phone call from Angela. He said she sounded scared, but calm when she told him there was a man in her apartment who wanted to use the bathroom and the telephone. Ben wasn't sure if she had let the man in or if he was in the apartment when she got there. All Angela said to him was, "Talk to me." A few seconds later, she told him she would call him right back and hung up. She didn't call him right back. Ben tried calling her, but there was no answer, so he immediately drove to her home. He arrived there at 2:17 a.m., knocked on the door, but she did not answer, and it was locked, so he called the police. It was 1984, so there was only those giant early edition cell phones, and he just happened to have one for his construction job. So that's how he was able to quickly call 911. When police arrived, they made a grisly discovery. Officers found Angela's naked body on her bed. She had been raped and suffered multiple stab wounds. Officer Ken described it as, quote, almost like she'd been butchered. Another officer, Officer Janice Crowther, said, "It appeared to me that her heart was lying on top of her chest."
Oh, my goodness.
Very brutal in a matter of minutes.
Wow.
She was on the phone with Ben. Within a half an hour, he had called the police.
Holy cow. Yeah, so he's at the door half an hour later. Right. This has already been done and gone. Wow.
Very fast. Investigators surveyed and preserved the crime scene. There was no sign of forced entry, which suggested Angela had opened the door to her killer. Blood in the bathtub and bathroom sink indicated the killer had cleaned up after murdering her. An autopsy revealed that Angela had been stabbed 18 times. One wound penetrated her entire body all the way from front to back.
Wow.
Yeah.
The force that had to be
right. It
that.
was very brutal and very quick.
My goodness.
Analysis of the semen found in the victim showed that the rapist was a non-secretor, which means they do not secrete blood in their semen, so it will be hard to blood type them. Because back then they didn't have DNA, so they relied on the blood type found to try and identify the suspect.
Okay.
Police interviewed Ben first. Ben refused to take a polygraph test, but agreed to a DNA swab to determine if he was a secretor or a non-secretor. With no other evidence linking him to the crime, police pursued other angles while they awaited the test results. But why would he deny the polygraph?
Yeah, right. I mean,
if you're innocent, you would be like, whatever. Although
right.
they're very unreliable.
Very unreliable.
And
so
not used in court either. So.
Right, because of their unreliability.
Right.
What if that could incriminate you?
Right, and either way, when I see someone like court TV or whatever, and they refuse to take the polygraph, I was like, guilty.
Yeah.
Right away. Yeah. They don't want to prove their innocence, they're guilty.
Yeah, but on the other hand, like I said, maybe it could, incriminate them.
Right, even if they didn't do it, correct. So. Right. The police then reached out to Anita and Russell. Anita came in for an interview and said that nothing occurred that night that would concern her. There was nobody weird hanging around. She didn't think there was anything really going on. On October 17th, Russell, who was out of town immediately after the murder, met with investigators. His version of the events of the hours before Angela was killed were the same as Anita's version. Russell only lived 5 minutes from Angela's condo, and he told police he had, quote, romantic feelings for her during his interview.
Okay.
And he just happened to be out of town right after the murder.
Yeah.
However, Russell did give a saliva sample, and he also took a polygraph test, during which he was asked if he killed Angela. He said no, and he passed the test.
All right.
Although reliability still hanging out there.
Now you have that behind you and a saliva swab to prove, hopefully for him, that he's not the person. So
Russell also had another little tidbit of information for police. He told police another student who he claimed was infatuated with Angela. The person admitted to police that he had feelings for her, and he knew that she did not feel the same way for him. But the night of the crime, he said he was out of town with his family and also gave a saliva sample.
Okay. All right. So we're just, as of right now, until they
get all
prove
the samples
otherwise,
back,
you're just scratching people off. Like, so.
Right. Yep. We have boyfriend, Ben, Russell, and then the mysterious crush at school.
Right. Yep.
Analysis of the saliva samples eliminated Ben as a suspect, but showed that Russell and the secret student that was in love with her were non-secretors as well.
Okay.
So investigators dug deeper to find out if either of them was their man. The other student, the crush student, he had a very strong alibi, so they turned their attention to Russell's polygraph results.
Okay.
Upon review, the results of his tests were changed from truthful to deceptive.
So, do you see what I mean? That kind of stuff. You can't.
How can you just change the results?
You can't do that. You can't be like, oh,
right.
well,
somebody already looked at him and said he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
Okay.
See that now. That's probably one other reason you can't use that stuff in a court.
Exactly.
Well, you can change it. You can
say
have
whatever
different
you
opinions
want.
on it.
I mean, that wave says he's a liar.
Yeah, right.
Well, after speaking to his lawyer, Russell refused to take another polygraph test, and he remained a suspect. But the police had no more evidence tying him to the murder, and that's where it ended. Her case went cold for 20 years.
Wow. Holy cow, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, a really long time. And they just kind of gave up on it.
Wow.
There was a woman named Sheila. She was Angela's roommate at the time of her death, but she was away the night of the murder. Stated that the cold case was reopened only because she kept badgering the police until they were, quote, so sick and tired of her that they assigned Detective Crum to re-examine it. Sheila credits the fact that she became a licensed private investigator in her desire to assist in solving Angela's murder. The police initially stated that the rape kit collected at the scene, which contained the DNA, was lost during Dallas floods.
Come on. Well, I mean, Dallas has some pretty hardcore floods sometimes, so I mean, I guess it's possible.
But it wasn't lost.
Oh, no. Oh.
They have it. And now we're into the 2000s and we have DNA technology.
Nice.
So, a cold case unit was established in Dallas thanks to Sheila's badgering.
All right.
And the DNA sample they magically found from Angela's case was run through new databases and that had been collected through the years.
All right. So, fingers crossed we get a hit, right?
Right? Is it going to be Russell? On February 14th, 2008, investigator Linda Crum got a DNA hit on an unknown male profile. That profile was submitted to CODIS. On March 19th, it was matched to Donald Bess, who was serving a life sentence in a Texas prison for a different sexual assault.
Oh, holy cow. Okay. Wow.
Random.
Dang. Random guy, and he's already been caught for something similar.
Yep, for a
right?
similar
Ooh,
offense.
wee.
When detectives working Angela's case interviewed Bess, he said that he had never hurt any of his victims. Then he asked them if their visit had something to do with Dallas, and then he stopped talking to them altogether. That's not suspicious at all.
Right. Yeah, what the heck?
So investigators dug deeper into Bess's past and found out he had been released on parole for a previous offense in March of 1984 and was in Dallas. So Bess was already in prison serving a life sentence, but before this sentence, he had been previously convicted in 1978 for aggravated sexual assault and aggravated kidnapping. He had been sentenced to 25 years in prison and was out on parole in 1984 when, according to the court's decision, he raped and murdered Angela. Police suspect he saw her out and targeted her. So it was completely random. She did not know him. He did not know her.
Wow, victim of opportunity.
Exactly.
Oh, my goodness.
Yep. In 1985, in a case unrelated to Angela's murder, Bess was sentenced in Harris County, Texas, to life in prison for 1 count of aggravated rape and 1 count of aggravated kidnapping and 1 count of sexual assault. Literally a year after her murder, he was put in jail for life.
Wow.
A year. During the punishment phase in her case trial in 2010, various women came forward and testified that they had also been raped by Bess. The defendant's ex-wife testified that he had abused her and their child during their marriage. They had wed in 1969 and divorced 3 years later.
And that's kind of what I was wondering too, during that year span, was there more? And apparently there
It sounds
was.
like there were more through his whole adult life, yeah.
Wow.
On the basis of the DNA match, Bess was found guilty by the jury and on June 8th, 2010, received the death sentence. On March 6, 2013, an appeal filed by Bess was rejected and the judgment of the court has affirmed. In April 2016, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals refused an appeal submitted by Bess, upholding the findings of the Dallas court back in 2010. So he keeps trying to appeal, but they're like, nah.
Yeah, well,
He's done it too many times.
You get so many attempts at an appeal,
Well,
and
he
that
was
just
already-
prolongs it anyway for these people.
So what, is he just trying to get off death row? Because he's already serving life for a completely different offense.
Yeah, he's probably just, playing the system, trying to just prolong anything and buy his time.
Yeah. Donald Bess died in prison of a heart attack on October 8th, 2022, while awaiting execution. He had remained on death row until his actual death.
Well, hey, bye.
Right, he deserved it. But why do we hold on to these people so long?
Yeah.
Although he was sentenced to death in 2010, so it was 12 years till his death. But still, what are we waiting for?
Hey, I mean, these people don't get to be like, all right, hold on before you kill me. Let me have 10 years and then go ahead and kill me. I don't know. It's a crazy system we have.
And then they keep going through appeal after appeal and writing the governor and trying to get off of death row all this time.
Right. And clearly for some of these people, they fit the bill. You are offender over
multiple
and
multiple.
And
his own wife, his child, multiple women,
Yeah.
the people he had been in jail for twice previously.
Right.
And this one just ended in murder. And who knows if there were other victims, other murders.
Right. True.
Right. So that is the very tragic story of Angela Samota.
All right. And that's going to do it for this episode. We appreciate you being here with us. We hope you enjoyed it. If you could, please hit that thumbs up, like, subscribe, all that jazz, and help YouTube push us out to a wider audience and help our channel grow. It would be much, much appreciated.
Definitely. And don't forget to join us next week for another true crime episode.
Absolutely. We'll see you then.